Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris the High Guy Jacobs, and today we've got another episode of Who TF Are You? Sitting down with me is the one and only Joker. Joker, thank you very much for joining me. Say hello to the people and give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back.
Yes, hello guys. My name is Joker. I am from 398, or I play in 398 in JSR1. I am about 82 million might, and I've been playing for a little over 600 days.
Wow. Getting close to that 2-year mark, hey? I guess that's 700 days. 720.
Yeah. Still close.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat, man. Don't get me wrong. I think I'm only 660 or something. So I'm only like a month ahead of you. And right now you said you're in region 320 or 398. Again, I said that during the beginning. Jesus Christ. 398. How long have you been there?
In 398, I've been there since the start of 398.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
So what
that
was that wasn't your first original region though, was it?
No, I started in one. I don't really know. I left my region pretty fast.
I think we all kind of do that. It's like leaving the nest as a bird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is my first one. I need to be out.
Yeah. So then I went to 254 for a long period of time, and then me and a friend decided to make an alliance in the 398, and then we got kicked out from there. But then I found an alliance in 398, which I liked, and then that friend stopped playing the game, and then I kept playing in 398 in JSR1.
So we have and you kind of mentioned that like your friend stopped playing and stuff like that. A little bit of history that we've got beforehand. You were kind of free to play at the beginning, weren't you?
Yes, I was for the entirety of 2023.
Yeah.
I was free to play. Started paying in around January and February of this year.
So let me ask you a question. What was it that finally broke that camel's back for you? What was it that drew you into started paying?
Just seeing how the game developed to becoming more pay to win, and I just felt like it. Got a job. Finally managed to actually to pay for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it became a lot funner when I paid, and then I kept paying.
That's how they get you. Hey, they make it a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit more enjoyable, and then $3,000 later, you realize it was that enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind me asking, now you got yourself a job, so you're feeling better about yourself. What do you spend a month? Like, what have you budgeted for the game?
Usually I always pay for the 2,000 gold and then the 2,000 extra daily thing, and so around
like
$20 to $40, $20 to $50, something like that.
Yeah, that's good. If you're only down to about that much and you're still able to compete, like that's pretty impressive. I only spend about 100 to 150 a month myself. So that's, if you're able to kind of do that on that, that's pretty incredible. There's a lot of people who struggle on that front. What do you think is one of the better things to purchase if you're looking at spending just a little bit?
Well, definitely the weekly armament pack, the one that you share in your region and align stuff, and you get one new legendary armament a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I basically started to pay for, and then I got my Julia up.
Yeah.
And then maybe the workshop pack where you get 20 tier 3 armaments for $5.
Yeah.
That one to get especially your main troop type to tier 3 workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And then just packs them you make feel worth it, like the duck pack right now for the. Let me check what it's called.
Do you play on PC or on mobile?
Both.
Oh, you cheater! You cheater!
Quacking Escapade.
Escapade, yeah.
Yeah. That one because feels worth it.
Yeah, I just bought that one too because for the Alliance League I had to buy some $5 packs, and I was running out of ideas to purchase for, so I bought that one.
Yeah, I spend on it usually when I get to level 30. They just open or just spend it on the duck event itself.
Yeah. The duck event is also one of those good ones. I'm actually quite impressed with it because of how cheap it allows you to get a March skin. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're still spending $400 or $500 for it. But normally your skins are anywhere from 6 to 1,000 depending. So if you can get one for $300, I mean, that's a really good deal in value of the game.
Yeah.
Did you end up getting the skin at all or no?
No, but I really like the skin. It's very nice. I
Isn't
think it's
it?
my number 2.
It's my number 2 best favorite skin as well. Yeah, I
What's your
freaking
number
love
one?
it. The Thor skin.
The Thor skin, the new one?
Yeah, the brand new Thor skin that they just dropped that I have no way of getting yet unless you had 100 vouchers.
The vouchers.
Don't even get me started on how much
Yeah.
of a punch in my nuts those vouchers are.
Especially after the update when they started doing it in the Grey Hunter. No,
Oh.
not the Grey Hunter. In the
No, I know what you mean. When they changed it from what it was before to the
Yeah,
combined event between the 3 of them. Dude,
the
every
100
single...
times.
Well, here's how I look at it. Every single player has a moment in this game where they've made some really stupid decisions with their resources. They had saved a bunch of stuff, saved a bunch of resources or arrows or bullets or whatever it was. And we all have a story of where we screwed up hugely. And mine happened when they changed that damn event because I burned through all my arrows on the first new event thinking it was easier to get the skin. It is not easier to get the skin.
No.
It is not easy.
It's way harder.
It's
way harder.
It's impossible. Let's get it right.
Yeah.
It's not just harder. It is impossible unless you spend a ridiculous amount of money to get skins that way.
Yeah, and I don't think a 1% defense buff is worth spending thousands of dollars.
Unless you're prepared to spend thousands of dollars hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Like unless you're prepared to buy every skin. Have you looked at your overall buffs to see how close you are to your maxes anyways?
Where?
If you click on your shelter.
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can open it up here. Hold on.
On the buff page.
Let me just double check. If you click on your shelter, click on the buffs. No. Click on your skins and then click on the buffs. So click on the shelter, click on the skins page.
And then the buffs.
And then click on the top left because you see how there's a max 20 or a max 30. They give you a max percentage.
Yeah.
So this way you can't...
Far away.
Yeah, well, I'm far away for some of them too. But like my gathering speed is 20% of 30%. My zombie kill experience is 20% of a max 30%. So you can still stack those without needing the legendary skins or like the legendary, you know what I mean? You can still stack those skin buffs without needing legendaries. It just works better if you have legendaries, and legendaries just look nicer.
Yeah, legendaries are... they're beautiful.
But I'll never
really
get
like
one.
Yeah. I really like the new one, the one they dropped with the winter event. One in my alliance got it.
Someone in your alliance got it?
I think it's only for a couple of days, though.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
I ended up pulling it for 3 days, too.
Yeah, yeah. How much did you pay for that?
Actually nothing. I mean, besides the $10.
Wow. That's impressive. I
didn't... I might have bought one extra $5 pack. But it was just, I ended up 38th or 42nd or something like that overall. Just on the free play stuff.
Maybe I didn't kill enough zombies though.
Yeah, I crushed 1,000 zombies right off the bat. But I also got a little bit of a boost because the game screwed up. You remember the bug that they had at the beginning?
No, which one?
So at the beginning of the Christmas event, they didn't have the snowflake, like the snowflake coins inside the snowball event. So as you're leveling up to get your rewards, where you get your, you pay your 7,000 gems and you can get open up that second track.
Get
and
the coins.
Yeah. So they didn't give you the Christmas coins inside of there. Instead, they gave you the thing that allowed you to get shovels and...
Oh, the boots.
Yeah, so instead they gave you stockings.
Yeah.
And I cleared that 1,000 zombies in the first day as soon as it was opened.
Damn. Okay, that's why you actually killed 1,000 zombies the first day.
Oh yeah, I almost always do. I mean, as soon as I get those, it's such an easy way to get points. I almost always do it like the first day.
How many hours did you spend on that?
Well, when you have ×5 coupons, it goes pretty quickly. ×5 coupons
Okay.
and 5 marches at a time, it goes pretty quickly.
Okay, I did that as well for killing zombies for the lookout tower because I finally got my research lab up to 25.
Yep,
But I
yep.
only killed like 300 before I realized you don't get any.
Yeah, you only need to do it during the Russell event.
Yeah, I forgot that and just blew 100 or 150 coupons on nothing.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks. That's like my farm account. My farm account having to do zombies by itself because it doesn't have any coupons anymore. I've burned through them all. So now I'm doing zombies one at a time. That's rough.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's
Definitely, yeah.
that's rough. That takes a long time to do 1,000 zombies.
I remember doing it once with I went out of 5x coupon, so I did it with the 2x. It was pretty painful, but I did it.
Yeah, well, when as soon as you do that, you feel like patting yourself on the back like you've just climbed a mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jeez. So you call yourself a ranged main, is that right?
Oh yeah. I do.
Ranged main. So you're looking to start garrisons and fight in the field, eh?
Yeah. Maybe more of the rallies, but yeah.
So who's your favorite hero?
Favorite ranged hero?
No, your favorite hero overall. It can be ranged or anything else.
Oh, maybe Victor. He's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's a good choice. I've actually been thinking a lot about Victor, and how sad I am that he's only 1111 on my account. I have him collected, but that's it. Sorry, what?
He's 5114 for me, and then I got all epic armaments on him.
Yeah, rub that in just a little bit. You son of a bitch. No, but I have an Awakened Thunder, so there's that. Nah.
I have an awakened Tom.
My Tom's not awakened yet, but I have an Awakened Miyamoto and an Awakened Dut. Nah.
You got me.
Okay, good. I'll take that victory.
That's actually a fun story. So I was an infantry main when I started the game.
Yep.
With that, so I got my Tom awakened, and then I changed, and then I became a ranged main. So I blew 600 fragments on a hero I don't use anymore.
You mean with
Or I
Tom?
use him, but he does not give me good reports anymore.
Yeah, well, see, Tom is an interesting character. I like him. You know, he's got still kind of a use, but he gets overshadowed by so many other players now, like so many other heroes. Because it's like you can use, like typically you'd use Tom in Garrison, but now you've got Riven. If you use Tom in the battlefield, you know, he does debuff, which is nice, but you're still going to want to put him with Miyamoto. But even if you put him with Miyamoto, she does decently with Bodala still. So like any position that he would fill, he kind of just gets knocked out of those positions.
Yeah. But you know, 20 mil guys, one in a awakened hero, and Tom is an easy one. So I guess that was kind of like my thought. And I changed to a ranged main at about 40, 50 million might, around there.
What caused you to make the change?
I don't know, actually. I think I saw a ranged main on Dark Seal or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whoa, he's getting these reports, or he's doing so well. And that I kind of like changed my view of the heroes.
Hmm.
And then I was in 254, and Julia wasn't out yet.
So basically what you're telling me is if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense. Makes sense. I feel ya. I feel ya.
So what I did, because I don't think the server was 90 days yet to get Louis.
Yeah.
So I migrated to 4 and just joined. I think I joined Cozy. You know that? You know that
No.
alliance?
No.
I stayed there and I just paid for the daily packs until I got Louis, and then I migrated back.
Nice. Back when you had to be smart about how you picked up your heroes.
Yeah. And when the migration passes was $5 and.
Yeah, and now they're like 99 cents.
Mm-hmm.
You can just think about migrating and do it.
What do you say?
It's like migrating has become so easy. All you have to do is just, think about migrating, and it's now you can do it. Before it was really expensive and hard to do.
Yeah, and you couldn't stay in your alliance before as well.
Yeah, now they have multi-regional alliances. Like, what the hell? It kind of takes the importance of being in a region out of it entirely.
Yeah, and just takes away the whole principle of having like an Eurolines in a region.
Well,
Because you
exactly.
don't have to be in that region anymore.
Yeah, you can get benefits from not being in that region.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and for the most part, you can still play. The only thing that you miss out is Antipede. But if you're already at red parts, like if you're already at red equipments, you don't need carbon anymore, so the Antipede becomes useless.
But how many? There's not a lot of 80 to 120 players with all the red parts as well. So I don't think.
Yeah, it does.
Like becomes worth it.
Well, especially if you're missing out as a younger player, you don't want to miss out on that Antipede. That's kind of important.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking love Antipede. Give me my 136. You usually forget?
Yeah.
Kill me.
I probably missed that on 2, 3, 4,000 carbon, I would guess.
Oh my goodness. Dude, you'd be sitting so pretty with all of them reds. You'd be sitting pretty with all of them reds.
And I was so good at it before as well.
I
remember on my farm account, I saved up 6,000 carbon for a top commander.
Yeah.
And then I just got first place. And then I used all my remaining speed ups on the second to last day because I thought it was the last one.
Yeah.
And then they just paid to first place. And I stayed up for over 6-7 months for that one top commander.
And that's when you started to realize the game is not fair.
Yeah.
That's when you realize
getting paid in front of me.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you realize, and that's when you remembered. Oh, right, we live in a capitalist system. I forgot. I forgot about that. Oh, that's got to be disheartening. But I find that Top Commander now, it's become, how do I put this? Shit. So. So I used to really like Top Commander, and I used to believe heavily that most people needed to, kind of focus on Top Commander. But once they opened it multi-regionally, where there really is no, like, it was up to each region to have its own whale, but now it's like the whales just get their freedom on it. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not one that I kind of focus on. So I've even stopped honing during TC. I hone during the honing event instead because the rewards are better.
That's way better rewards.
Yeah, so I stopped honing during TC. The only speed ups I use are like on day one. I stopped worrying about the last day because the last day you lose out on the value on your speed ups anyways. So as long as I get in the top 10, I'm happy.
What is it now? 180 points instead of 250?
Yeah, instead of 240.
240. Yeah, that's kind of a lot of points as well.
It's like 25% less.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of points that you're missing out on.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now you're doing it. You're not only are you missing out on, but it's undervalued points.
What do you mean?
Well, you look at it in the first place. They've limited the amount that you can get on those first days, so you can only get 100 million, right?
That's the worst.
So they've locked those down, so now you don't get the full value of your time, and then they basically force you to use your speed ups in the last 2 days when you get less value for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that 100 million cap is like the worst thing about Top Commander.
Yeah, exactly.
Not giving the free-to-play players a Top Commander which they can actually win.
Well, exactly. It's an absolute backslap to the free-to-play and low-spending player, which unfortunately is, unfortunate for me because that's my entire viewer base. That's who I play to specifically.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where I have to sit there and digest it too. And even for myself, like I said, I only spend $100 a month, but I'm even feeling like my $100 a month isn't going near as far as it used to either.
And $100 on a game a month is actually it's a good amount of money as well, and making that feel like nothing is kind of ridiculous of IGG.
Not to mention the amount of people that spend thousands and their value doesn't feel as good. I think Zed really hit the nail on the head yesterday when he kind of said that, like, even just because your whales have everything already purchased doesn't mean you need to keep feeding the whales more to purchase. Like
when he had his little tantrum.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it a tantrum. I would call it more of a spirited, you know what I mean? A spirited conversation.
Yeah, but it was true what he said.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I can't wait. I want to get him on the channel so bad. He's just such a busy guy, so I'm working on getting him on the channel as well.
That would have been dope.
I think it will be. I think it will be when he sits down with me eventually. He said he will, so I'm holding him to it. And if he ever sees this, he understands that I'm holding him to it.
We're all excited to see it.
I think so. I think I mean, he's just one of those players that I think anyone is privileged to be able to you know, have any of his attention, because he sure knows the game to a whole different level. You know what I mean?
I think he said yesterday that he's playing like these types of games for 10 years.
Well, I mean, once you have all of that experience in other games and you kind of bring it into this one, it gives a total different understanding to being able to pull up the real information. Like most of what we do is all speculation because the developers aren't open with how their calculations are done. They're not open with how the game, and in reality, sometimes they don't even know what their game is doing, you know, compared to what they should know. So because of that huge thing, to have someone that dives so deep into it and is so welcoming and open to share that information, the community has a really good player in Zed. That's why I think, you know, that's why I definitely think that people need to get around to support him and, you know, fix out his GoFundMe and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, you know, yes, it's a video game, but he's a pretty pinnacle player in the game.
Yeah. And his 7 mil regular or Bodala is just insane.
Oh, don't remind me. Don't remind me. It's crazy to see. I mean, in our last IR, for example, we had a Julia. We were up against a Julia that's at 5.5 million. There's no breaking that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, unless you've got something to match, there's no breaking that.
Yeah. And what year was that?
Pardon?
What bracket was that?
Oh, that was in like 49 or something, 50 something. So having a 5 million in such a low bracket in comparison, like, it is a lose-lose, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Did they end up winning?
Yeah, they crushed the whole thing. They won the whole event off of one hero.
Yeah, I could just imagine.
One hero. And
Think
of course,
how fun being that Julia is, or being that the guy that has that Julia.
I could totally just see him. He random teleported into our area and taunted us the whole time.
Oh, he's that type of player, yeah.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. Yeah, come on, hit me. We rallied him once, got destroyed, never did it again. Because he uses Julia everywhere. He uses them because at 5.5 million, it doesn't matter where you put her.
Yeah, but even me as a 3.1 million Julia, I also put her in Garrison with Louis, and I put her in, yeah.
You put her everywhere.
On the field, yeah.
You know, Julia's one of those heroes that goes everywhere.
Yeah. Like,
And
I've seen her with, I think, with Thunder even in Garrisons, and like it's worked.
Yeah. And because, like I said, she's like Victor. She can play a lot of different roles. Like Victor, and you know, we mentioned this yesterday in the stream. Victor is one of those heroes that literally goes on every line, anywhere, pretty much. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got so much utility. And Julia is one of those heroes that has that same kind of like rotation. She can literally lead rallies. She can lead garrisons. But the big thing is that 5.5 million, you can do anything with her.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? If the strongest you have outside of that is a garrison at 3 million, or a main fighting rally at 3 million or 3.5 million, I mean, you just stomp at 5. Exactly. Yeah. The game. Sorry, go ahead.
I forgot what I said.
I was gonna say the game is unbalanced.
Yeah.
One,
you know, I don't remember much from before the armaments, but I've heard that it kind of like ruined the game. Like Z and stuff has said that before.
Well, it's the beginning of when it started to change. So I started playing right before armaments dropped. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I honestly think this used to be one of the most balanced games for free to play and pay to win.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, actually.
Right?
It was very free to play friendly.
It was incredibly free to play friendly. Everything that was achievable in the game was achievable entirely for free. You could earn March skins, you could earn legendary skins, you could earn all, like anything that you needed to earn, parts and all that kind of stuff, you could earn for free just by grinding. And then they started to add armaments. And when they released armaments, it was kind of like the floodgates to everything else. Because once they released armaments, they started to release everything else very, very quickly. They started to release new events, right? IR came very quickly. AR came very quickly. You know, it was like a cascade of these events. And then once you had armaments hit, very shortly after that, you had the vehicle hit. And then very shortly after that, you've had, well, now we've got survivors. We've got the Bio Beast coming here tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Tomorrow? So oh, I thought it was 13th of January. Or maybe that was only the ranged heroes.
Yeah, I thought that was just the ranged heroes.
Yeah.
Because the building starts tomorrow after the reset halves.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Or after the new update hits.
Hope is more like the survivors. Was like the survivors. It won't benefit the top 1% as much as the armaments or the workshop.
I'm sorry to break your heart, my man. It's going to be like the vehicles. It's going to be as impactful as the vehicles.
But then they're really like, they can't be trying to keep this game alive. Like they've heard probably for over a year now that they are killing the game by doing things like this. And they are going to lose a lot of the player base that is low spenders and mid spenders.
Yeah, but you know what? They're pulling in new players. I mean, they're still populating. I mean, we've populated 700 servers now.
That's wild.
So I would agree with that sentiment if it wasn't for the fact that they're still pulling in new players. And talking to new players as I have, I've come to determine one major thing. The new players don't have the same opinion as the old players do.
Oh, like what do they say?
They're enjoying the consistent content. Because at weak might, and I don't blame them, because at weak might, repairing after so much fighting is no big deal.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's cheaper. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't get really expensive until tier 5, tier 6. Once you're on tier 6, it's a whole different game. And most of these players that they're bringing on, I think they understand aren't going to get to tier 6 anyways.
Yeah, definitely. And
so
it's like you say the cost of these things, and they're probably not going up against like 5.5 million Julius, as you said, and they're not going against the whales and stuff like that.
Well, not nearly as much anyways.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the additional content is just more for them to do, and it just feels like they're getting more and more buffs, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And it like comes to a point where they like, yeah, I'm getting all of these buffs, and they don't understand what this does to the whales and the top 0.1% of the game and the player base and stuff.
Well, I think they just don't understand how much it separates those who have from those who have not. And if you're just playing this game casually, that doesn't bother you as much. But if you're like us, or, you know, you're like some of those players who play competitively, that's where it matters the most. It's the ones that actually give a shit. It's the ones like us who actually understand the context to the game, or actually understand the ramifications of what these changes will make to the game, that really kind of is going to determine whether this game has longevity or not.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you think this game is going downwards or upwards? If you're not regarding the players and the service and stuff like that.
Do I think that the game itself is getting better or worse?
Yeah.
I think it's getting worse. I think it's been getting worse for a while. Don't get me wrong. They have made some attempts. And they've made some interesting attempts. So if you look at something like the Alliance Vault.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably one of the best changes they've ever made.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Depending on the alliance, obviously. It depends on each individual alliance. But that's arguably one of the best things that they've done, simply because it's a free gold that they're giving away at no cost. So totally great.
Yeah.
Sure, but the cost was already being made. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly. That was my point.
it's a gift that the developers are giving back.
Mm-hmm.
If
And
you
that's
look,
like the minimum you could do. And actually, the
sure.
first message I sent you, the thing I told you was, I wish that the developers could just, let's say at day 365 on your VIP, you could just get some like 5,000 or 10,000 gold.
Yep.
It would help the player drastically, and it would not cost them anything, and it would keep players, and maybe even players would start to spend if they see how much they gain from the 10,000 gold and stuff.
Well, even if you put it as something like a big, like you get a nice big something, for that 1 year, and
Mm-hmm.
it gives people something to look forward to and work for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I get it. It means that you're not going to make as much money off them, in that time, because they might not spend as much because they do see that. But on the flip side, you might end up having them spend more,
Yeah, and play more.
right? Obviously.
And
And,
it gets, you can probably see a guy who just got 370 days on his account telling people who has 250 days to keep playing because you will get this bonus on that day.
yeah. And you would see how much, even extra spending. Because I don't know how many times I've spent all the gold in my account and it ended up a couple of gold short. You know what I mean? So I had to spend a little bit more. Like
Yeah.
there's tons of avenues as soon as you start giving stuff away when it doesn't cost you anything, that they could absolutely create revenue from it, or create some
Mm-hmm.
balance from it, or at least show the player base that they give a shit.
Mm-hmm. And I think that will help. Like, I think that would actually help both them and us. And it's like a win-win situation.
Yeah. I think it's actually a really good idea. I think the developers have, if they paid attention at all to the player base, if they paid attention at all to the content creators, if they paid attention at all to the actual, the actual whales in the game itself, because even the whales themselves are asking for it to slow down.
They are? Like who?
I mean, of every player that I've spoken to, and I've spoken to players who spend $3,000-$5,000 a month, they all say the same thing. They say the speed of the game is too fast. There's too much happening too often. You're releasing too much content. And in reality, the schedule that they have us playing on, 3 weeks on and 1 week off, is too often.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Like, yeah, that's too much. And I specifically remember the Genesis where they had it 5 or 6 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Like, that's just too much.
100%. And this is even coming from the whales themselves that are saying this. So people that are in that higher caliber of spending, or the players who are well known. Like I'm in group chats with a lot of these guys. I'm in group chats with Bane. I'm in group chats with HNB. I'm in group chats with a lot of these guys, and they've pretty much said a lot of the same things. They're releasing too much stuff too fast, and even the whales are getting bored out. And that's why there was a huge exodus a while ago, probably 3-4 months ago, of a lot of these main players, because of how fast things were going. And so now we're in a situation where they haven't slowed down. They're kind of speeding up. So the biggest thing to me is that they're just not listening to the player base. So do I think the game is getting better or worse? I think it's getting worse only because they aren't listening.
And I think that's the main reason you made this podcast type of videos.
Almost exactly right. I mean, the whole purpose of these podcasts is not only just to meet the player base, is to put names to faces. You wouldn't believe how many people think that, thought that I was fake, or think that other players are not real, or, you know what I mean? Like there's such a separation between an identity and who we are. So a lot of this was just to introduce the player base to the actual player base as well, so we can actually start to create more of a community. But I've always had the hope that one of these videos ends up on a developer's chair or ends up on a developer's desk, where they take the time to actually listen to what the player base is saying. And with all of these videos that I've done, all of these interviews that I've done, they've all effectively come to the same determination, the same answer. The community is awesome, right? The player base is awesome.
And the game is moving too fast.
is exactly the game. The community is awesome. It's what brings us back every day. But the game itself is moving too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's refreshing to hear it from free to play players, as well as players who aren't free to play.
Yeah.
You know, to hear how united the community is and all of that really makes the rest of this so refreshing.
Mm-hmm. And even though like English Channel 3 is filled with a bunch of bullshit, it's still a fun game, and we still come back.
That's right. I mean, I say it very loosely. The community is a great place to play, except for a couple of key people. But we all know who they are. They're the same people every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not like it's a different group of trolls. I've got a rolling list of ID numbers on my wall of trolly players. But it really is the community that brings us back every week, every day.
And it is amazing. You could like see how much the specifically the creators are contributing. Like I've seen both you and Panda in English channels, and I've spoken with Zia on private messages, and just like people like you guys actually respond to the smaller players like me, like a random 40 million guy in a random server.
I specifically work pretty heavily to make sure that my inbox is open to everyone. Simply because, like I said, my focus has always been the free-to-play players and the low-spending players, because that's where I consider myself, right? And so I've always wanted people to be able to enjoy this game as much as I do. Go ahead and enjoy it more, spend more, and have more fun. Feel free. But if you want to have at least as much fun as you can, not spending as much as you have to, that's what my focus was. And you wouldn't believe how many messages I get from people that are surprised just in someone replying to them in the first place.
I think I actually said it to you as well. That you actually replied and stuff.
Which also makes me a little sad, because I think that everybody owes it to each other to give the best examples of themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I kind of see that as a responsibility that I have. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm anything special. I just started doing this year. But the community has been super accepting. And like you mentioned, it's been one of those things where it's been like a whirlwind just to be able to meet people. You know, and understand that the community really is united on a lot of things. And as much as EC is full of cucks, pardon my French, you know, as much as language chat can get filled with racism, English chats and language chats go through a really weird ebb and flow, right? Where they go from really nice people to really racist people to really nice people, and back and forth. You know what I mean? Like it's a really weird kind of switch and dichotomy that happens there. But when those really nice people are on, like, it's a really great, comfortable place to play.
Like I've met people in English chat that I still chat with to this day, like 200-300 days ago, because they were nice and we actually found the groove and stuff like that.
Exactly. And once you find that group with you, like once you find that collective alliance or that collective, you know, group of people, you almost owe it to them to come back. And I think that's the biggest key that the game is missing. They have a need that people have to create this community within the game, and yet it seems like they're just bitch slapping us with paywalls. Yeah. Like, you guys choose to be here, we'll pay for more of your time. Like, come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
I'll pay you, I will. Just let me do it at my own pace.
Especially with this new event, if what you said is true, and it's like they're not giving a single fuck about the what the community is saying.
No, they're really not. Like I said, this new bio event, the new bio beasts that I've been reading up on, they're going to be as influential as the vehicles, because they'll be impacting every individual march. So you'll be sending a bio beast with your leaders.
Okay, so now we got like cars and beasts inside of cars within special marches and stuff.
Yeah,
helicopters
and survivors.
The zombie apocalypse. Yeah.
Well, they still have zombies. You still have to kill zombies, so they can still get away with that.
Yeah, I guess so.
They still have hive minds you still have to kill, right? Oh, man. But you're right. It's one of those things. It's like I thought this was a zombie survival game. But then you see characters like Stella. And you go, I thought this was a zombie survival game.
Yeah.
Why do I have Rihanna in the game? You know what I mean?
So true, actually.
Why do I have freaking a guy on a hoverboard? Like, what kind of technology are we living in?
Like, everyone's dead. Who invented that?
It took humanity dying. They were working on the cure for the zombie apocalypse, and instead he invented a hoverboard. Like, what is this? Oh, man. Well, I'll tell you something, Joker. It has been about 45 minutes now. I cannot believe time has been going by so quickly.
Yeah, me too.
But that's the benefit of these conversations. As I've been having them, and as I noticed been having them, they go by very quickly because it's all common conversation. You know, there's no real stress to them. It's really just about your opinions on the game. It's really just about making people feel heard and understood. And, you know, at the end of the day, the more people that we have that'll sit down with us, the better.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that...
Like,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and it's like you will get, if you have that mindset, you will get people who's 20 million, you will get people who's 40, 50, you got 80, and not like a 1 billion might, 20 billion alliance might people who just spend and gets like the point of view from the highest paying players in the game. You actually get from people like me who's not in the top of fancy alliance and not in the top fancy bracket and stuff.
Well, it's about recording the average player's experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can talk about the 1% all the time, but then we remember that that's only 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the majority of players who play this game are not the 1%. There's 99% of others who don't have that same experience.
Mm-hmm.
So,
correct.
You know, so that's why we're doing what we are. And I'm really proud and glad that you were able to join us today, because it takes people like you who might have been a little bit, you know, nervous at the beginning to just bite the bullet and get in and do it, because it really isn't that big of a deal to do, but they are incredibly important to have done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they might benefit the whole game of Doomsday as well. Let's say if someone like IGG sees this and actually does something about it.
Well, the good thing is that these videos have been having decent traction within the community. People are asking me more about them now than they ever have before. You know, they're suggesting more people that they would like to have interviewed before. We've ended up getting some big names out here, like we had Sarsi last week. So it's starting to gain some traction within the community, and that's all I can really hope for. The bigger that the podcast gets, the bigger that the group gets, the more impact that it has in hopefully the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree.
So anyways, I do want to ask you, I got a couple of last minute questions here before we wrap up.
Yes.
First and foremost, I do want to do, obviously what I do with every guest that we have on here. I do have one last question I'm going to ask you. If, for example, you had the IGG ears or the heads of the developers for the next 30 seconds, let's say hypothetically they were listening to us actually right now, what would you say to them to give Doomsday the most longevity that you think it can? What would be the advice that you would give them directly?
All right, I will probably just say the thing we've been talking about this whole time. Just slow down. Don't release something new every 2 weeks. Just let the game kind of progress, and maybe when there is a need for something new, maybe put out something new, but not like every month or 2 months like they're doing now.
And again, I'm not sure how much else we have to say to the developers before they'll start listening. This is another person who says, just like we've mentioned, it's time to slow down just a little bit. Let people get caught up. Let them enjoy the game. Let them enjoy what you've created.
Yeah.
Because right now, it feels to me like a championship eater. You know what I mean? Like you sit down, like I don't know. Do you watch Beard Meets Food?
No, I don't. I don't watch that.
You should. Well, I've been watching a lot of Beard Meets Food, and it's this
Is that the
British.
Canadian show?
No, he's a British guy.
Yeah.
He's a British guy, and all he does is he goes around. He's got a big, gigantic, epic beard, and he goes around and he does food challenges, and he's like a professional eater. Now, I never thought I'd ever say the term professional eater, but I guess it's a real thing. Anyways, he goes from restaurant to restaurant that all does these restaurant challenges, right? Eat this gigantic meal within 30 minutes and get it for free and blah, 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 blah. And I feel it very much the same way as sitting down to this gigantic platter of food, right?
Yeah.
And then like having 30 minutes to eat it. Because like you don't get to enjoy it. You just have to eat it. And you know, you're stuffing your face faster than you can chew. And the game is that we're playing is exactly the same thing. Like I'm stuffing my vehicles as fast as I can before the bio animals get dropped. You know what I mean? Like
That was actually a pretty good terminology, I must say.
Yeah, see, I can connect food to gaming. I can do it. But I feel wholeheartedly like you said, like we just don't even have time to digest. I don't have time to chew. I don't have time to enjoy what they've created. All I have to do is put it all into my vehicles and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Vehicles,
And that's, like,
armaments.
the part where they have to just slow down.
Yeah.
Just let people chew, let people enjoy the food, not just stuff it in their mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And again, you know, I'd like to say that's, you know, an eye-opening, you know, never heard before opinion, but this is coming from the community who's very united in this. You know, slow things down a little bit, give us some time to breathe and actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So lastly, I do want to give you one last chance just because we have had such a fun time here on the channel today. I do want to give you a chance to say hi to your friends or give a shout out to some of your members or, you know, anything like that. So take some time and say hi to some of your players or to some of your alliance mates, things like that. Give them a shout out on the channel as well.
Yeah, sure. Now that I think about it, I probably have just two people. I will give one shout out to my alliance leader, Evening Dew, who's an amazing leader and does everything for this alliance. She's a very nice woman. If you should send her a chat, 398 JSR1.
Did you just say amazing goo?
No.
Okay, my brain heard amazing goo. What is her name?
Evening Dew.
Evening Dew. Okay.
W.
Yeah, I thought you said amazing goo. I was like, wait,
No.
what?
Evening Dew.
Evening Dew. Okay, let's get a shout out to Evening Dew. Not amazing
Yes.
goo, Evening Dew.
And then I must give another shout out to Shar, who really helped me before this interview. I was pretty nervous. Thank you for hyping me up and giving me some words of advice before I
Awesome.
went up here.
Awesome. And sometimes all it takes is a good push from a good friend. So I'm really thanks a lot, Shar, for getting him up here to do this. You know, you wouldn't be surprised. I hope you wouldn't be surprised to know that most people that I talk to have that same type of feeling. There's a little bit of nerves behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping that we can kind of quelch that by just getting the good conversations in. You know,
I'm definitely less nervous now than what I was before. For sure.
100%. You know, these are really just open conversations, gives you a platform to, you know, voice your concerns, voice your opinions, and have some laughs in the process. I'm pretty funny. At least that's what I tell myself. So, you know, at least that's what I tell myself to feel better about myself.
I would agree.
And then the rest of it is just, like I said, just having fun with it. So I really want to say thanks a lot for joining us. Now I do have one surprise question for you.
Oh no.
And that's one that I haven't really been asking, but I have wanted to start asking. Who do you think I should interview next?
Oh. I think this is an easy one. The one and only Z.
You want to see Zed get interviewed, eh?
Definitely. For sure.
You heard it here first, folks. The people want to hear from Zed.
Yes.
So, so if he's watching, you know I'm coming for you. You know I'm coming for you. No, I'm just kidding. It'll be good either way. Ladies
You know
and
what? I'll
gentlemen,
be the first one to say this as well. Thank
yeah,
you, the High Guy, for actually doing this and trying to keep this community alive in this game that we all know and love. Just keeping it alive and doing the best for it.
thank you. I appreciate that.
No
Um,
problem.
I do this because of the community, and I want people to understand that it's what brings me back every day. And that's what people say all the time. You know, it's the friends in the community that they make.
Hmm.
But I also look at the friends that I haven't made yet, because there are so many good people in this community. One thing that I've just, made just from doing these conversations is an incredible amount of friends,
Yeah, I believe that.
So thanks a lot for sitting down with us just in the first place. It takes a lot of guts, and I'm really proud. I'm really proud of you for doing that. So thanks a lot for
Thank you.
joining us.
It was just a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Good. But that being said, folks, that is going to wrap it up for us today here out of this episode. I want to say one more thank you to Joker for joining us. He is coming out of Region 398, and for those of you who didn't know, is also... I did get it this time, didn't I? Yeah, that's right. And for all of those of you who don't know, he is also starting his YouTube content creation journey himself. So do me a favor and make his way over to his YouTube at www.youtube.com/@flame-doomsday. I'm going to put that in the description as well so that you'll have access to it. Give him a like, give him a follow, tell him who sent you, and enjoy his content as he puts it out as well. Okay?
I will be doing videos about the 2 new ranged heroes coming soon.
Yes, I think
Excited for
that's pretty exciting content to be driving. I think I'll be joining you in the process, but I think I'll be doing mine a little bit later so I can get a feel for how they go. I experienced doing them right out the gate and then being caught having the wrong opinion. So I'm gonna give myself a little time to formulate those before I jump down that avenue. But that being said, folks, thanks very much again for tuning in. I do want to say thanks to Joker for joining us, and obviously to all of the members in 398 for supporting him and helping him in his growth journey. But
Love you guys.
all of that being said, I do want to say from myself to all the viewers at home, if you haven't already, click like, click subscribe, fill out the notification bell so you get any new drops when we drop new content. Love, peace, chicken grease, and until next time, stay lifted.